Hi everyone, it's Missy, and today I'm going to show you how to make a mermaid doll outfit. What you're going to need is a size I crochet hook, or 5.5 millimeters, a pair of scissors, and you can use any kind of yarn. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver yarn, which is 4 or medium weight, and I have it in purple, a light green, and a light pink. And I'm also going to have the written instructions from Red Heart in a pattern, or the pattern is going to be in a link below in the description box if you're interested of reading the pattern and following along. To get started, we are going to start with the purple, and we are going to make the bodice of the outfit. So we will make a slip knot. So all you do is you just wrap the yarn around into a circle and bring the yarn behind and put your crochet hook down and through to kind of pick up that loop and then pull tight. And then the pattern says to chain 34. So you're just yarning over and pulling through the loop to make a chain. 3, 4. This whole outfit is going to be worked in panels and not in the round, so it's just going to be one flat piece, and then we'll sew it together to form the outfit in the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the right side facing, and for row 1 we're going to single crochet in the second chain from hook. So you have the first chain stitch and then the second one. We're going to put our hook in the second one. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, so we have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over again and pull through both loops, and that's your single crochet stitch. And we are going to single crochet all the way across in each chain. So in the next chain I'm going to put my hook through the stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, so there's 2 loops on my hook, yarn over again and pull through those 2 loops. Now I'll do my second single crochet. And I'm just going to continue to do this down the row, and what you should end up having at the end is a total of 33 single crochet stitches. So I finished my 33 single crochet stitches, and that finishes row 1. And so now we're going to do row 2. And all I'm going to do is chain 1. I'm going to turn my work, and I'll be single crocheting in each stitch across. So just like we did before, we're going to insert our hook in the top, or in the first stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, so you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again and pull through 2 loops. And because we're single crocheting in each stitch, we should have a total of 33 single crochet stitches for row 2, just like row 1. And in rows 3 through 7, we are just going to do the same as we're doing right now with row 2. We're going to chain 1 at the end of the row, and then we're going to turn our work, and we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. And this is basically going to almost complete the bodice. We'll do some fancy stitching to make kind of a tank top looking pattern, but like I said, this is really easy. Anyone can do this. You just single crocheting in each stitch across for rows 2 through 7. So after I finish row 7, I'll come back and I'll show you how to do row 8. I finished row 7, and so I have the right side of my project facing me, and I'm going to turn it to the wrong side to do row 8, and I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet in the first 14 stitches. So that's 1, 2, Okay, so I did 14 single crochet stitches, so I single crocheted in each stitch, and now I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches. So I'm going to just count over to the 3rd stitch, and this is where we're going to do kind of a fancy shell stitch, and all you do is you double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, put your hook through the 3rd stitch, yarn over again and pull through a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over again and pull through the next 2 loops. So that's your first double crochet, and we're going to do 4 more in the same stitch. So yarn over and put your hook through the same stitch as your first double crochet, yarn over again, pull through a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That's your second double crochet. I'm going to do number 3. This one's number 4. This is number 5. All in the same stitch, so you get kind of like this shell pattern. I'm then going to skip the next 2 single crochet stitches, so the next 2 stitches unworked, to the 3rd stitch, put my hook through that, yarn over because I'm going to single crochet, and then in the last 13 stitches you are going to single crochet in each stitch. And that shell stitch is going to be the most complicated stitch you're going to do in the bodice. So now I'm to the end of row 8, and I'm going to change my color. Now you don't have to change your color, but it makes a nice interesting piece to make another strip along the top. And how you do that is, I have my other color I'm going to be changing to. I'm going to be changing to pink. And I'm going to put my hook through the last stitch I need a single crochet in. I'm going to pull up a loop. Now I'm going to drop my purple yarn. I'm going to pick up my pink, kind of make a yarn over loop, and I'm going to pull that through both loops. So my single crochet stitch has just been made with 2 pieces of yarn, and the reason why I change yarn like that is so it hides it. You don't necessarily see it. This is the wrong side of our work, by the way. So when we start row 9, I'm going to chain, I'm going to turn, and you want to put your tails behind, and then we'll sew this raw edge in too, so you won't see it. And then I'm just going to single crochet in each of the single crochet stitches across for row 9. So I'm doing another 14 single crochets. So I made it up to our shell stitch. In the first double crochet, you're going to single crochet. The next double crochet, you're going to single crochet. Now in this 3rd double crochet, the very top of our shell, we're going to single crochet 3 times. So that was my first one. I'm going to go put my hook right back into that stitch. Number 2, again, number 3. So you kind of had like this mini shell going here. The next double crochet stitch, I'm going to single crochet once. The next one I'll single crochet once. And I'm going to single crochet in the remaining single crochet stitches. And this is going to finish row 9. So what you'll end up with is 32 single crochets and 1 3 single crochet cluster, or a total of 35 single crochet stitches. That was my last stitch. So I'm going to cut off a piece of yarn for sewing. Going to yarn over, pull through. I'm actually going to cut off this purple yarn. on the other end. I'm going to make sure that that's kind of a long enough tail for sewing. And there you have it. This is the right side of our project that's now facing us. And we are ready. So the bodice is finished. That's it for stitching. What we're going to do now is make the strap, which is that tie that you see in the middle here to tie around the doll's neck. So I'm going to take my pink yarn. I'm going to make a slip knot, so yarning over, bringing a loop down. Pick up that with my hook. There we go. And you're going to chain 35. If I can get that going. Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3. So just yarn over, pull through. Okay, after you have your 35 chain stitches, you will want to find the center single crochet in this cluster, which is right on top, and you're going to stick your hook through that stitch, and we are going to single crochet. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So you're going to have the single crochet stitch, and you're going to have all these chain stitches off to the one side. And then to finish, we are going to chain 35. Okay, once you finish your 35, you can fasten off. So cut a tail, pull it all the way through, and there you go. You now have your strap. You can weave in your ends, but you now have your strap to tie it around the doll's neck. And now we are basically ready to go on to the body of this. So again, I have the right side facing me, and you want to have the right side facing when you start the body. And I'm going to switch to this green color. I'm going to make a slip knot. And now I'm going to turn this bodice upside down. And we're going to work on the opposite sides of our beginning chain stitches when we started this project. So I'm just going to take my hook and I'm going to put it through that chain stitch on the first chain stitch on the bottom. Just like that. If you want to, you can weave in your tails as you stitch. You don't have to. You can weave them in at the end. I'm going to weave them in as I go just because it makes my life a whole lot easier. If you're really a beginner, you can just put them off to the side. It does get a little confusing when you have all these yarn tails here. But again, with the right side facing, we are going to first do kind of a slip stitch. So I'm just yarning over and I'm pulling it through both of those loops that I had on my hook. And now we're ready to start. So chain 1. I'm going to single crochet in that stitch that I did the slip stitch in. So that's my first single crochet. I'm going to single crochet in the next one. And it may be a little tricky to find the opening. Find where your single crochet stitch is right here, and you should be able to easily poke your hook through, depending on how tight it is, or tight it was. But I think you guys will catch on. It's a learning process, but it should be easy to poke your hook through the hole. So I just single crocheted in the first 3 chains, and now I'm going to complete 2 single crochets in the next chain. So I'm going to single crochet, and I'm going to single crochet again in that same hole. Because we're going to kind of create this fancy, it's supposed to kind of look like scales on a fish. It's kind of like these shell stitches that we're doing. We're doing clusters of stitches together in one stitch. So we will single crochet in the next 7 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. So I just completed 7 single crochets, and we're basically going to repeat this pattern where we are going to complete 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in each stitch 7 times, so another 7 single crochets. And then we'll repeat that again. We're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and in the next 7 stitches we will single crochet once. Alright, so we're almost all the way across. We're going to complete 2 single crochets in the next chain. And then single crochet in the last 4 stitches. Oh, there we go. You know, I'm saying that there's 37 single crochets and I see I have 1 left over, and it says in the directions to do the last 4 chains, you should have 5. So I'm going to single crochet in this last stitch because I counted up in the directions. The written instructions that I'm following are wrong. 5 single crochet in the last stitches after your last 2 single crochet stitch back here in row 1. Then you'll get a total of 37 single crochets. I wasn't sure if I should told you guys 36, but I didn't double up where I wasn't supposed to, so I'm pretty sure they mean 37. So, sorry guys. Chain 1. To start row 2, you're going to turn your work in chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, and then we will skip the next 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and we are going to double crochet in the 3rd unworked stitch. We're going to create a shell just like we did on the bodice. We are going to double crochet in that stitch a total of 5 times. That's my second, 3rd, 4, 5. And this body of the mermaid tail, really is what it is going to be made up of a series of shell stitches, and that's going to create kind of like this scaly looking effect, which is kind of cool. So after you have done your 5 double crochet cluster, I know it as the shell stitch, You're going to skip the next 2 single crochet stitches, and then put your hook through, and you're going to single crochet in the 3rd unworked stitch. And we're going to repeat that pattern where we're going to skip the next 2 single crochets, go to the 3rd unworked stitch, and double crochet in there 5 times. We're going to skip the next 2 single crochet stitches and then single crochet in the 3rd unworked stitch. Do a shell stitch, single crochet, shell stitch, single crochet all the way across. So I'm skipping the next 2 stitches, doing a shell stitch, skipping the next 2, single crochet. So when you continue along this row, you should have 7 single crochets and a total of 30 double crochets or 6 shell stitches. So I am just going to finish this row, and then I'll come back and show you guys how to do row 3. So I finished row 2, we're on to row 3. We're going to chain 3. This is going to count as a double crochet, and every time we chain 3 now and throughout this pattern, it's going to count as a double crochet stitch. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to double crochet in that last stitch. And we're also going to double crochet again in that last stitch. So in essence, we should have 3 double crochets, or a chain 3 and 2 double crochets if you want to get technical in that first stitch. We're going to skip the next stitch, skip the next stitch. So we're skipping this first 2 double crochets in the shell stitch. We're going to go to that middle one, and we're going to single crochet. So you're like single crocheting on top of the shell. We're going to skip these next 2 double crochet stitches. We're going to go right to that single crochet stitch in between the shells. We're going to double crochet in that stitch 5 times. So we're staggering these shell stitches. So it should look like that. Then we're going to single crochet in the top of the shell. So skip your 2 double crochets, single crochet, and then we're going to double crochet in the single crochet stitch 5 times. We're going to keep repeating this pattern all the way across. Okay, I'm coming to the end of row 3, just single crocheted in the top of my last shell. And now I'm skipping the last 2 of the double crochets, and I'm on my last stitch, so I'm going to double crochet in that stitch 3 times. So I'm kind of like doing a half of a shell like I did at the very beginning. And that completes row 3. So you got this wave going. All we have to do is turn our work. We're going to be on row 4. We're going to chain 1, single crochet in that first stitch, and then we are going to skip those next 2 double crochets till we get to our single crochet stitch from the previous row, and we will double crochet in there 5 times. So we're making the shell stitch. And then we're skipping the next 2 stitches and we're single crocheting on top of that shell. And then double crocheting 5 times in the next single crochet stitch. So like I said, all we're doing is we're staggering these shell stitches. And you're going to keep just repeating that pattern all the way across in row 4. Single crochet on top of the shell, make a shell stitch, and the next single crochet of the previous row. Okay, I'm coming to the end of row 4. I just finished my last shell stitch. All I need to do is single crochet on the top of this chain 3. And row 4 is done. So, row 5, we're just going to repeat row 3. So we're going to turn our work, we're going to chain 3, double crochet 2 more times in that first stitch, and then going across, we're going to single crochet in the top of the shell, and then 5 double crochet in that, I want to call it a valley, but in that single crochet stitch from the previous row. Okay, that's my 5th double crochet, and single crochet again in the top of the next shell. I'm going to do this all the way to the end, and then remember at the end of the row we only stitch 3 double crochets in the very last stitch. So I finished row 5, and now we're going to do a series of repeats. Rows 6 through 19 are a repeat of rows 4 and 5. So you're repeating rows 4 and 5 7 times. And I'm not going to keep showing you row after row after row because it's going to get very redundant. But to start off on row 4, we just turn our work, we chain 1, and then we single crochet on top. And you guys can go back into the video when I say this is the start of row 4. And like I said, row 5 is just really a repeat of row 3. I like how they make these directions. For rows 6 through 19, you want to single crochet on the top of the shell, you want to double crochet 5 times, make that shell stitch in that single crochet of the previous row. If you're on a row at the end where the single crochet is at the beginning and the end of the row, you'll double crochet in there 3 times. That's really all you have to remember, and that you'll turn your work. So, rows 6 through 19, repeat rows 4 through 5 7 times. I'll come back when I've finished row 19 and we're ready to move on to row 20. Okay, I finished all 19 rows of the body, and as you can see it's quite long, but now we are going to start decreasing stitches to bring this together in a tail. So I have the right side facing. Now I'm ready to do row 20. I'm going to turn my work, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet in the first 7 stitches. After we have single crocheted 7 times, we're going to single crochet these next 2 stitches together. How you're going to do that is you're going to put your hook in the first stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, put your hook in the next stitch after that, yarn over, pull through a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So those 2 stitches have now been made into 1 stitch. And we're going to do that again with the next set. We're going to put our hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop, put your hook in the next stitch after that, yarn over, pull through a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. So you just completed 2 single crochet, 2 together stitches. Now we're going to single crochet once in each of the next 15 stitches. After you have your 15 single crochets completed, we are going to single crochet the next 2 stitches together. So just like before, you pull up a loop for each stitch, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. We're going to do that again a second time. So you have 2 single crochet 2 together stitches, and then we will single crochet in each of the remaining 6 stitches. And then to finish off the row, we are going to single crochet on the top of this beginning chain 3 from the previous row. So for row 20, you should have a total of 33 single crochet stitches. And that is counting the single crochet 2 together. So we're going to turn our work and we're ready for row 21. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. And then we're going to single crochet 2 together twice. So that's 1, 2. And you're going to see that your piece is going to start to curl in, which is just fine. We're going to single crochet in the next 13 stitches. And then we are going to single crochet 2 together twice. And then we can single crochet in the last 5 stitches. Oops. Here we go. So then you should have a total of 29 single crochets. Oops, I did miss a stitch. The last 6 stitches, sorry. Here we go. Yes, that will bring you to 29 single crochets. I was already reading ahead to row 22. Like we continue on decreasing, we're going to turn, we're going to chain 1, single crochet in the first 5. Then we'll single crochet 2 together twice. And then single crochet in the next 11 stitches. Single crochet 2 together twice. And then we can single crochet in the last 5 stitches. So at the end of row 22, you'll have a total of 25 single crochets. For row 23, turn, we're going to chain 1, we're going to single crochet in the first 4 stitches. Single crochet 2 together twice. and then single crochet in the next 9 stitches. Single crochet 2 together twice, and single crochet in the remaining 4 stitches. For row 23, you'll have 21 single crochets in that row. Row 24, turn, chain 1, single crochet in the first 3 stitches. Single crochet 2 together twice. Single crochet in the next 7 stitches. Single crochet 2 together twice. And single crochet in the remaining 3 stitches. So for row 24, you'll have a total of 17 single crochets. Row 25, we'll turn our work, we'll chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch and the next stitch. So 2 single crochets, and we're going to single crochet 2 together twice, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches, single crochet 2 together twice, and then single crochet in the last 2 stitches. So you'll have a total of 13 single crochets in the row, and as you can see, we're creating the spot where those feet of the doll are going to go. So now for row 26, we can turn, chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch, and then we'll single crochet 2 together twice, single crochet in the next 3 stitches, single crochet 2 together twice, and single crochet in the last stitch. So you'll have a total of 9 single crochets. For row 27, we are going to turn our work, chain 1, single crochet 2 together twice, single crochet in the next stitch, and single crochet 2 together 2 more times. Oops. There we go. So you'll have a total of 5 single crochets in that row. For row 28, we are going to chain 1, turn our work, we're going to single crochet 2 together, chain or single crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet 2 together. So for row 28, you should have a total of 3 single crochet stitches. Row 29, turn your work, chain 1, and we're going to single crochet 3 together. So insert your loop into each stitch, pulling up a loop, and then you'll have 4 loops on your hook. Just yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. So just have 1 single crochet in that row, and that finishes the body of this mermaid outfit. And you want to leave a long tail for sewing, so I'm just going to leave that much, and then we'll fasten off. And the right side of our project is facing, so as you can see, there's these 2 little bumps, and that would be for the feet of the doll. And then we'll just be rolling this, or not really rolling, but folding this. And that is how we're going to be sewing it together. When I sew, I actually do the right sides, so I'm going to fold it the other way. And then I'm going to get my tapestry needle. And my tapestry needle is just a big, thick needle. It's a blunt point. There we go. And we're ready to sew. So we're going to line up our rows. And this can get to be a little bit tricky, but hopefully we have the single crochet here. And I'm just looking to line it up so they're even. You can go all the way down. And then how you start is you just go through. So on the edges of these stitches it's just double crochets and chain 3s. And I just like to go through the very edge of each stitch like that. And we're just gonna whip stitch these together. It's not really that fancy. When we turn this inside out, it's also gonna look, the seam's gonna look better. That's why I have the right sides facing and you have the wrong side facing outwards. And it's just fairly simple. I mean, you're just going along and evenly working. Just to hold it together. And when you just want to keep continuing on. And then when you get to the purple portion, you want to take your purple yarn and whip stitch that together, and then of course the pink, you'll want to whip stitch the pink together. So I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to weave in my ends, and then we'll be ready to make the fins or the tail, and we'll be sewing that on as well. So I'm just going to continue to sew this together, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to crochet the fins. So to start making the first fin, we are going to take our yarn. I'm just using the same yarn that the body color was. If you're following the pattern, I think it switched you back to pink. But with this, with your yarn that you selected, we're going to leave a long tail because we're going to use that for sewing. So I'm just going to make a slip knot in the middle here. And then we will chain 17 stitches, making sure to chain using your working yarn, not the long tail. Now row 1 is going to be our right side, and we will single crochet in the second chain from hook, and we'll also single crochet in each remaining chain across. So we should get a total of 16 single crochets for row 1. And while we're working this piece, it's going to turn into a triangle. And then when we make the second fin, that will be our second triangle to make the fin. For row 2, we're going to turn our work. We're going to chain 3, And then we're going to double crochet in each stitch across. So we should get 16 double crochet stitches, and I'm counting my chain 3 as a double crochet stitch. Once you have those stitches completed, you can turn your work, and we'll do row 3. So we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to double crochet in the next 7 stitches. After you've done the 7 double crochets, we're actually going to leave the remaining stitches unworked. So counting this beginning chain 3, we have a total of 8 double crochet stitches for the row. So we're going to turn our work, and we're going to start on row 5. So we'll chain 3, or row 4, excuse me. We're going to chain 3, we're going to double crochet 2 together. How you do that is you yarn over, you go in your first stitch and you pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You're going to yarn over, put your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through a loop. So there's going to be a total of 4 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yeah, so there's 3 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over and you pull through all 3 loops. That's a double crochet 2 together. And then we are going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. Should say in each of the next 4 stitches. That's 2, 3, 4, and then in the top of the beginning chain 3 we will also double crochet. So when you're done, you should have a total of 7 double crochet stitches. For row 5, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to chain 3. Whoops. And we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then we are going to double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, put your hook in the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Then you're going to yarn over, put your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull the loop through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook. Oh, I'm trying to do this too fast, sorry guys. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Wow. Okay, so we made it through that, and then we're going to double crochet in the top of our beginning chain 3, and then that will bring us to a total of 6 double crochets for the row. So we are ready to turn our work. We're going to chain 3 for row 6. We're going to double crochet 2 together. And then we will work a double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And a double crochet in the top of the beginning chain 3. Sometimes I make my chains way too tight. There we go. So you should have a total of 4 double crochets, or 5 double crochets counting that chain 3 for that row. So for row 7, we'll turn our work, chain 3, double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet 2 together, and then double crochet in the top of the beginning chain 3. And that will give us 4 double crochet stitches for the row. Turn our work. For row 8, we'll chain 3 and double crochet 2 together. And double crochet in the top of that beginning chain 3. Our last row is row 9. We're going to chain 3 and we will double crochet 2 together. So it's going to be worked over 1 stitch in the top of this beginning chain 3. Just like that. So you got your nice point on the very top of the fin. You're gonna fasten off. This is going to be the tricky part because we are going to join our yarn. So I got it fastened off. We have our right sides facing. And to do the second fin, we need the wrong side facing. So flip it over. And then I am going to get my piece of yarn here. I'm going to make a slip knot. And then with the wrong side facing, you're going to join in the yarn with a slip stitch on the top of the beginning chain 3 of row 2. Let's see if I can get all my yarn pieces in order. There we go. Just like so. And then we will chain 3. And we are going to double crochet in the unworked stitches, which should be a total of 7. And again, I'm weaving in my tail as I go. Okay, so I finished the second row, and then rows 2 through 7 of the second fin are going to be rows 4 through 9 of the first fin. So you're going to turn your work. You are going to chain 3, double crochet 2 together, and then double crochet in the next 4 stitches. And double crochet in the top of the beginning chain 3. And then we'll turn our work. Chain 3. Double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And double crochet 2 together. And then double crochet in the top of the beginning chain 3. Turn our work. Chain 3. Double crochet 2 together. Double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and double crochet in the top of the chain 3. I'm going to chain 3 again, turn our work, going to double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet 2 together, double crochet in the top of the chain 3, turn our work, chain 3, then we're going to double crochet 2 together, then double crochet in the top of the chain 3, turn our work, chain 3, and double crochet 2 together. And then we are ready to fasten off. And that is our fin. Now remember that when you end, the right sides should be facing. I actually don't think it really matters in that pattern, but that's the fin. This is the body that I sewed. And you will lay the body flat. So if I can kind of show you guys. So you have this top bump portion in the middle, the straps in the middle, and then you just want to just lay it out flat and put the tip of the tail at the very middle of the fin. Take your tapestry needle, and with the yarn that you left for the tail, I'm going to see, and you want to make sure that all the right sides are facing. So I'm going to, well, I don't think I can flip this one too well, but I'm going to try. There we go. And then all I'm doing is I'm just whip stitching these together, kind of like how we did the body. And I'm just being careful to pull the edge of the yarn on the top there. And just going around. As best I can. Okay, but the corner it might be just a little bit trickier, but because I have to kind of flip. So let's see if I can kind of, oh yeah, I can manipulate this, alright. As you can see, this goes pretty fast. You just want to pick up the edges of the yarn. There we go. So if I flip this out, we got our tail. So I'm just going to weave in my end. And we're basically done with the mermaid suit. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm running out of, the reason why I'm speeding is because I'm actually running out of room on my camera. I'm seeing this as I go. But I'm just going to weave in my ends, and I'm just going to make this one video, and I'm going to have a link to the second video on how to make the mermaid crown. But otherwise, if you have any questions about how to make this mermaid suit, or if you want me to kind of clarify something, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Bye.